Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, which can only mean one thing. It's time for the weekly watches. As for the last few weeks, 7 titles to talk about. Getting pretty consistent on the channel. Can't be a bad thing. We'll crack straight on with it. Won't keep you here all day. First up, I watched Derailed with Clive Owen, who I always like. I always think he's the Bond we never had. He would have been such a cracking Bond. Jennifer Aniston, always good to look at. And Vincent Cassel, who played the bad guy, and he's always a good bad guy, and he's really evil in this. This is about Clive Owen's character. He's married to Melissa George, I think it is, a girl that used to be on one of the Australian soaps. And after a chance encounter with Jennifer Aniston on the train, he starts a fling with her, and she's married as well. And Vincent Cassel's character, he breaks into their hotel room where they're up to their seediness, robs Clive Owen, sexually assaults Jennifer Aniston. But that's not the end of it. He then starts blackmailing the pair of them, telling them he's going to tell their two partners all about the affair unless he keeps them with a flow of money. And yeah, it's a thriller that I really enjoy. I've seen it before. It says Hitchcock style on the front, which I wouldn't quite go along with that, but it's decent stuff. Now, there's a twist in this that took me by surprise, and I liked it, but reading reviews, everybody else says what an obvious twist it is, and maybe it's me, I'm thick as mince, but I didn't see it coming, and I really enjoyed the twist. Tell me, have any of you seen this, and did you see it coming? Because I certainly never, and like I say, maybe it's just me, a stupid git, but there you go. Yeah, Derailed, I really enjoyed that. Wouldn't mind seeing a Blu-ray for that. Great film. Vincent Cassel, as I say, brilliant baddie. Always plays a good baddie. As Mesrine, if you've not seen that, watch it. And one I need to see is Lahane, because I've heard he's fantastic in that. Yeah, really good. Swallowing my tea. Now, have you noticed past year, 2 years, how the postal service, it's just getting worse and worse. You order your films and it's taking days to come and everything's late. Well, I think this week I found the reason why that, and I think it's because they've employed this guy to be the postman, Kevin Costner, because in this film, it's taken him 3 hours to do what he should have done in 2 hours. God, this was slow. The concept of the film, I quite liked. It's the end of the world. Something's happened which isn't really explained what's happened, even though it's like 3 hours long. They never took another few minutes to really get behind that. And this gang of people, the Nathans, something they named themselves after, who was their leader again, which isn't explained properly. They're in control. They've sort of like formed their own government, if you like, and they're a horrible gang, killing and torturing and all sorts on the way along. And Kevin Costner, he gets pretty railroaded into the gang, and he escapes, and he finds a dead postman in his van, and he takes his uniform and then poses as this new postman. Now he's getting the state back together and going to get the postal service back together, and there's a new government formed. And yeah, I enjoyed the concept of it, but God, it was slow, it dragged. I didn't realise what I put it on. It was a 3-hour film. I think I checked how long was to go after about an hour and a half, and I nearly fell off my chair when I still had an hour and a half to sit through. Costner, I like him as an actor, but as a director, God, he drags it out. It's not one I think I'll watch again. So probably one I'll probably move off out of the collection, to be fair. Which James is going to hate me again, because I know this is a favourite of his. Yeah, that's not for me, guys. Next up, one that was for me and one that I really enjoy. I've watched it a couple of times. The One That Got Away. My favourite network film in my collection, I think. This is the true story of Franz von Vera, the character's name, played by Hardy Kruger. He was the only German during the Second World War. Now, I've got to be careful how I phrase this. Who was captured on these soils? So in the UK, is Messerschmitt was shot down. Is the only German that escaped that was captured in this country. Now, the reason why I say captured in this country, because he didn't actually escape from this country. He was transferred to Canada, and he escaped while he was in Canada. So nobody actually ever escaped from this country. But yeah, this is a great biopic. He made 2 or 3 attempts while he was in this country before he got shipped to Canada to escape. And one of them, he was held in the Lake District, and he managed to get away while they were having exercise. And the bleakness of the Lake District, if you've been up there, which I have a few times, it's lovely, lovely countryside in the summer, but by God, you wouldn't want to be stranded there in the winter like this guy. That nearly killed him. His trials of trying to make it to Liverpool to get on a boat through the countryside in the Lake District. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant biopic. One I really enjoy. I think it's still available quite cheap, even though Network have defunct, sadly. I think CX sell it for £5-6, and I think you can get it on eBay for under a tenner. I highly recommend anyone to pick that, because, like I say, absolutely brilliant film. Next up, and another one I enjoyed, was Brandon Cronenberg's debut movie, son of David Cronenberg, Possessor. Yeah, good little sci-fi horror film. This was all about hitmen, or hit ladies in particular, and how they could transfer their consciousness into another person's body and get them to do the kill remotely, kind of thing. Yeah, really good. You can see where he's had influences from his father, because very much like a David Cronenberg film, there's a lot to think about. It's quite a twisty plot. It doesn't spoon feed you anything. Angela Riseborough, she's good in this. One I probably need to watch again to get me head round it completely, but really, really good fun. Yeah, one I recommend. James has seen his second film, which he says is in a similar sort of vein to his first one. It'd be interesting to watch that one. I'd like to see that one, and then going forward, see if he can move away from his father's sort of realm and see what he can do with his own thoughts. Yeah, I enjoyed it though. Yeah, good film, good solid sci-fi horror. Next up, and another great watch, Payroll, a 1960s heist film, all about these guys knocking off an armoured vehicle. And yeah, I really like this one. Maybe the pick of the week. What I liked about it is sometimes these heist films, they romanticize the gangs and almost portray them as the heroes, but this is different. If you mess with this gang, if you're on the outside of it or on the inside of it, you're going to wind up hurt. They let you know in no uncertain terms that these are not nice guys. Yeah, they knock over this armoured vehicle, and it goes, well, it doesn't go wrong, they get away with the money, but a guard gets hurt, and the police, they're making no headway into the case. The guard's wife that got killed, she's sort of taking it on herself to go after the gang, and really gritty drama. Like I say, really, Billy Whitelaw, she was the guard's wife who was going after the gang. And it had one scene I mentioned the other day when I picked it up that was shot in my town, but the rest of it was set and shot around Newcastle. The only thing I got going against it was there wasn't one Geordie accent in the film, even though it's supposed to be in the heart of Geordieland. But I suppose they think most people won't notice that, only maybe as UK citizens. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Another one. See a copy, grab it. Great, great, great film. Next up was one I picked up in a charity shop for 50p. Apparently a very rare Blu-ray that's well out of print. That's easier to get an import to the UK one. Hardly any of them about. About Last Night. This film, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, James Belushi, Elizabeth Perkins. Now, this isn't my type of thing, so this is going to go off to James. But I thought I'd give it a watch, and especially as it's an 18, I thought it might have something a bit about it. But nah, it's not for me. This type of stuff. It's your typical romantic comedy. The boy finds girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy moves in with girl, boy has an argument with girl. They split up, they get back together, copy and paste, copy and paste. You know how it goes. So many cliches in this film, even to the point where they're outside their apartment in the hallway having an argument, and I think that door's going to swing shut and he ain't going to go to get in, and sure enough, he locks himself out. Yeah, I know James is a big Rob Lowe fan, that's why he wants this, so he's more than welcome to that. I'll send it on to him. James Belushi, I like James Belushi, but he was just annoying to me in this. About Last Night, about the worst film I saw this week. Or maybe that was The Postman. And last for the week, if you thought I'd had enough of Kevin Costner and Kevin Costner's directed films, I hadn't, because Open Range found its way into the player. And whilst this has got pacing issues like The Postman, I don't know what Costner thinks with his pacing, it's a whole lot better and quite enjoyable. I think the worst part about this, it's 2 hours 20 minutes long. There's a great final shootout, as in a lot of westerns, which happens at the 2 hour mark, and that's done and dusted. Then it took an extra 20 minutes to wind everything up, which was totally unnecessary. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I've seen it before. First time I've seen it on Blu-ray. Robert Duvall and Kevin Costner, they're two cattle herds, and they come across this town where they don't take kindly to free grazers, is it they call them? And Michael Gambon, he's the bad guy who plays a great bad guy. Sadly, we lost him last year, didn't we? And things go south when one of their gang is killed, and it's all about Costner and Duval getting revenge back on this guy and the corrupt marshal of the town. Really enjoyable Western. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I say, bit of issues with the pacing, but apart from that, a really, really solid watch. So that was the lot for the week. Some good stuff, some not so good stuff. Like I say, give Kevin Costner the sack from our postal service and we'll get our letters a lot quicker. Like if you've liked what I've done here today, maybe think about subscribing. I'm about 2 or 3 short of 400, so if you could help me out, get me over the 400 mark, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for watching. You all have a good rest of your weekend, and all be good. Goodbye.